everyone. Hello. Hey, Jody Marvin coming into you live today. Happy Friday and happy first day of September. I cannot believe September's here. I don't know where the summer went, but it's kind of bittersweet. I just feel like the summer went by so quickly, and now we have the fall coming. And in honor of that, guess what I got out? Yes, my mug. I got my fall mug out. So yes, and I do have some pumpkin spice in here for all of you pumpkin spice naysayers. Tell me in the comments if you think it's too early for pumpkin spice. I say it's not too early. All right, but anyway, so thank you so much for being here. I have another really special treat for you today. Well, first of all, I wanted to let you know that not only will I be live streaming to our group, our community, and Facebook, but I will be live streaming to my YouTube channel. So this is a first for that. So you guys will be able to catch this replay on YouTube. So that's very exciting. I just want to quickly introduce myself. My name is Jody Marvin. For those of you who don't know me, I am an operations management consultant. And I also train women to become online business managers or to create a business that aligns with their skills or passions. All right. So today we're going to get real for a second. Okay. All right. So we've all experienced wellness ups and downs, personal ups and downs, business ups and downs. We feel on top of the world one day and the next day, boom, we hit a brick wall or, curveballs are thrown at us. Right. But guess what, you guys? It's all about how we bounce back and how we use those ups and downs to become more resilient and grow stronger. And let me tell you, if you're looking for some major inspiration, you're in the right place today. That's why I'm so excited to bring on a very special guest today, Beth Ann Dice, who is going to share her very inspiring story with us. But before I introduce Beth, if you're here live with me today, just to type a 1 in the comments or say hello, tell me you're here. And let me just make sure I have my comments on here. Hey, Gordy, not too early for pumpkin spice. You got that right. Yes. If you're watching the replay, type a hashtag replay just so that I know that you couldn't make it to the live, but you could watch it afterwards. And if you're new to my page or my community, please type in new and maybe we can message each other later on and get to know each other and just collaborate and grow our networks together. Alrighty? Okay. So let's get on with the intro. Beth Dice is a cancer exercise specialist, breast cancer recovery BOSU specialist, and the creator and founder of Mission Movement Wellness Studio. She helps women not only with midlife wellness, hello, she amazingly helps women restore their wellness following cancer diagnosis and treatment or following other wellness concerns. Beth, welcome. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning. Thank you, Jody, for inviting me to crash your party here.
Pardon me?
Thank you for inviting me to crash your party.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Welcome to the party. It's September 1st. We have to celebrate, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
All right. So, Beth, before we get into the Q&A, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So, I am a native of Central New York. I grew up in Oswego. Spent 13 years in South Carolina. Actually moved back here, but moved a little further south to Fulton, New York. I have a 21-year-old daughter who is, I always say, she's a way better adult than I ever thought of being. And I have had, just kind of a number of varied experiences through my career. I have an amazing significant other, an awesome bonus son. And I really feel like I am truly living my best life from about 45 on. And I just really want to help other women really do the same thing.
Yeah, amazing. Awesome. So as far as your background and inspiration, what was the turning point, Beth, that shifted your mindset from personal wellness to wanting to share and help others?
Sure. So as I was focusing more and more on my wellness and, with the advent of social media, and you start posting things about, what you're doing and all of this, maybe even oversharing, I started having other women, kind of reaching out to me and saying, hey, I'd love to go for a walk with you, or, things like that. So I decided to create this walking group. And one day, 2 women who I knew had some health issues, joined my group, and they were both extremely overweight. And I started just worrying a little bit. I thought it was great that they were there and joined and wanted to go for a walk and wanted to be better, for their health. But all of a sudden, I got thinking, oh my gosh, if something happens to them, am I liable?
Mhm.
I have been CPR certified since I was 16 years old, so I wasn't really worried so much about being able to help them if something happened. But I was worried about if I would be liable. And that was when I really started to think, maybe this could be a part-time job. Um, and at about that same time, my daughter was finishing up high school, and we're kind of thinking about college and that sort of thing. And I didn't want her to be strapped with student loans, so I had actually been kind of thinking about getting a part-time job. But then, with all of that, it's like, how do I juggle a part-time job with a full-time job and everything else? And I quickly realized that if I created my own part-time job in an area that I was interested in, it would serve a lot of purposes. So that's how that really came about.
Mhm. I love that. And I love how you said that you created your own part time job. Um, because sometimes it's, I mean, being tied down to like an office or is not always ideal, especially when we already have full time jobs. So you created something on your own. And that's such an inspiration because a lot of these ladies that are on today are all looking to do the same thing. They're looking for that life freedom, so that, and in turn helping others. That's amazing. So Beth, when you were starting your business, because I know for me, starting a business is kind of scary, and it can be scary for all these other women that are looking to do the same thing. Was there any fear or apprehension about starting your business, especially after having faced health challenges yourself?
Um, Really not. I think so often, and I'm sorry, there's like a lot of crunching. Is that on my end or yours?
Hmm.
Are you not hearing it?
I don't hear any. Is it?
Okay. It sounds like rustling papers.
Okay.
Um,
Uh,
yeah,
right.
it's just
Yes.
really
Okay. I'm gonna go check. I have a fan on, so keep going, Beth, and I'm gonna go turn the fan
okay.
off,
Sure.
and I'll see if that helps. But please.
No worries. Sorry. Um, so I think probably the only fear or apprehension would be, would it really work? Um, you know, where do I start? Um, those sorts of things. And, as far as my health was concerned, I was really through the worst of the issues. So it was more that I saw any health issues that I had as a catalyst for others, that it could serve as some inspiration of, if she can take these steps to get healthy, it's possible that I could do the same thing.
Mhm.
So, it probably the biggest fear was just, is this really going to work?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a fear that most of us have going into our businesses,
Sure.
right? Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Amazing. So, Beth, what were the initial steps that you took to transform your part-time gig into a full-time retirement career?
Sure. So this is a fun story. A big part of, I knew that I couldn't do this whole business thing on my own. Even though I grew up in an entrepreneurial family, I had a fairly good idea of what needed to be done. Um, I knew that I should have like a mentor, right? And I had joined a mentorship program, and I remember on a retreat with this mentorship program, we were talking about, what our plans were. And I said, well, my 5-year plan is to be able to do this, full time and have a physical location, because at that point I was only online and just all of these things. And the mentor said to me, he's like, this can be a 5-month plan, not a 5-year plan. Well, leaving my full-time job wasn't in my mind something that I wanted to do right away, but definitely having a physical location was. And things were growing and things were progressing. And I was working, my day job was in tech, and I worked from home. And the company that I had originally been hired for was bought out by a bigger company. In the company that I worked for originally, it was small family business. It was based in Indianapolis. The people were amazing. Everybody at the company was kind of like 40s, 50s, 60s. The new company was like 20s, 30s, and
Mm,
40s.
mm.
And right after the buyout happened, I kind of started seeing all of the old people like leave, like mysteriously, one by one. And then January 2nd of 2020, now this is before the pandemic is even really a thing, right? I get on my weekly call with my manager, and all of a sudden there's a third person, and I'm like, oh, my turn. And I
Oh,
was right. And it's like, I didn't even panic at that point. I'm like, just like, you know what, maybe this is kind of the universe telling me that it's time to do this full time. Well, of
yes.
course, I always have really great timing, right? So the pandemic hits.
Mm.
But that actually really worked out well for me because I was not, or I was no longer afraid of the tech. I had built my studio to be hybrid, but nobody really understood it. Nobody really understood that like we could do Zoom classes and we could do like a personal training session through Zoom. So, I mean, literally the day that all of the gyms were told to close their doors, I just flipped a switch. I did take that Monday off just to kind of breathe. But on Tuesday, I mean, everything just picked up. Just like the way it was. All of my one-on-ones were on Zoom, my classes were on Zoom. And, you know, what was my part-time gig just kind of magically turned in. And, because I was ready to go, I was actually teaching other gym owners how to do this online.
Oh, that's
So
amazing.
while other gyms were suffering during that time, mine was actually growing and expanding.
Wow, I love
Um,
that.
yeah,
And and so take another, example that the pandemic, yes, it was tough, but look what that turned into for you because of really because of the pandemic, we were forced to do one-on-ones and Zoom. So yeah,
hmm
the timing was perfect. And I've heard a lot from other folks that started online businesses that it was during the pandemic that they really, flourished.
sure,
So with their
sure.
online businesses, yeah, amazing. So Beth, for women, especially the women that are watching today, who are hesitant about starting their businesses due to personal challenges or health issues, what advice would you give to them?
Sure. So first off, have a plan. Just don't just like wing it. I will admit early on, I kind of winged it, didn't really know what I was doing. Um, so have solid goals, have a plan to achieve them. Um, Make sure you set boundaries. Like boundaries are something that I did not set for myself early on. And boundaries have kind of been my buzzword the last 2 years. Set really solid boundaries.
Hmm.
Probably one of the biggest things, though, is make sure that you have the support of those that are closest to you.
Yes.
Unfortunately, I see so many women, they want to start their own business and they don't have the buy-in or support of their significant other, their partner,
Right.
whoever that may be.
Yeah.
You've got to really make sure that you've got that support because I will tell you, if it weren't for that support on my end,
Hmm.
there's no way I could do this.
Yeah.
Absolutely no. And sometimes that's financial support. Sometimes it's just a shoulder to cry on, blow off steam. But you've got to make sure that you've got that support and that they understand what the plan is.
Yes.
Um, you know, Even though they may not be a partner in your business, they are a partner in your business. Um,
Absolutely.
Start small. Probably my biggest thing is, oh my gosh, everybody needs to stop overthinking everything,
Hmm.
right? So
Hmm.
while you should have a plan, don't overthink like every step.
Gotcha.
Um, Use tech. Don't be afraid of tech. If you are not comfortable with tech, go take a class, learn it, start small, but tech can really be your best friend. Some of the software that I use, people are like, oh my gosh, you spend so much money on software every year. I consider that software my second employee of like, that's my employee. This is how I'm able to be a solopreneur, which I absolutely love that I don't have to like have other people to worry about. And then the final thing is just diversify.
Mm.
And this has been a huge thing for me. Don't we've all heard the saying, don't keep all of your eggs in one basket.
Hmm.
Make sure that you have multiple streams of income.
Mm.
And if you have high demand family issues, if you have health issues, anything like that, you want to make sure that some of those are low touch passive income, just things that can kind of run in the background because if one area of your business starts to, kind of falter a little bit, you know that you always have that backup.
Mm,
And, there's that, 7 streams of income is how you become a millionaire. I think we all want to be multimillionaires at this point.
right.
But that's been a huge thing for me. It's just making sure that I have multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
But in the
Amazing.
end, I mean, it can really, especially if you do have health issues, like for me, it's so freeing because I don't have to get into a car and drive to a job every day. And it's just, I can kind of plan my schedule around what I need to do for me.
Yeah. Amazing. And I love how you touched on support and I just have to say, and I think my husband's on here now, but he is one of my biggest fans. I'm very blessed. I can be on my morning walk with our grandpup and I can give him a call and blow off steam and he's always there to support me. And it makes a huge difference. And for those of you who may not have that support, I mean, there's also my business coach actually recommended this is to see if there's a local networking group of like-minded women that you can reach out to. That's very helpful as well. And you also touched on tech, Beth, and that's one thing that has helped me as well. And even like this broadcast today, my very first Q&A live was a couple of weeks ago, and I didn't even know what StreamYard was. And I booked the Q&A, right? And as soon as I booked it, I went, oh my goodness, I don't even know how to bring anybody on. I don't even know what button to push. So I researched it, took the initiative, and I found StreamYard. And it's, you know what, it's not that big of a deal. And you're right. I feel more confident. I feel better about doing these Q&As because I have the tech on my side. So absolutely. Absolutely. And I am working on diversifying myself. And creating those multiple streams of income. And that's what we're trying to promote in this community too, for these women it is important to have those multiple streams, isn't it? Yeah.
Definitely.
Yep.
Most definitely.
Yeah. All right. So as far as your challenges and overcoming them. So as you embarked on this business journey, what were some of the obstacles you faced and how did you overcome them?
Probably one of the biggest one is just myself.
Mm,
I think we all need to get out of our own way, right? And so often we hear a lot about imposter syndrome, but it really truly is real. We kind of think, who am I to be doing this, because I want to go and, drink or eat a plate of chicken wings and just do all of these things, right? But that's just real life. So, that that is probably number one. The second one is just, I think when we start a business, we really want to serve everybody, right? Because we're worried that like if we narrow down our niche too much, that oh my gosh, we're never going to have any clients. But what I found early on is that kind of creates a lot of mixed messaging. We can't serve all of the people. And somebody gave me advice really early on: niche down 6 times and then one more, and then you got it. And I think I've just recently, like in the last year and a half, taken that final step. But there was some mixed messaging in there. Uh, who exactly do I serve? And I've kind of backed up a little bit, just because I needed to just, it was part of the diversification.
yeah.
You know, so again, and just being afraid to like invest in yourself,
Mm,
I think is something that, you see the price of a coaching program or, software or something, and you're like, but then if you really, if you put in and you do the work, free is not always your best option. If you put in, you do the work and just really stay focused.
yeah.
Again, it goes back to that plan. Have a plan and work
Mhm.
the plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And and niching down can be really hard, especially in the beginning, right, Beth? And it's a process. So like you probably develop that over time. Like you maybe you thought your niche was one thing in the beginning, and then I don't know, a month later it turned into something different, and then a few weeks later, oh wait a minute, it's so again, niche down. What do you say, 6 times, and the seventh time you might have it right there.
Hmm. Exactly.
Absolutely. So it's important to remember that it takes some time to niche down, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. All right. And so Beth, how did you stay motivated during your most challenging times?
Um, I get so much energy from my clients, and sometimes it's I get the most energy from the people that are the most ill. I have one client that we have only ever met by Zoom. She lives not far from here. She is morbidly obese. She has agoraphobia. She has a hard time leaving.
Mm.
And there was one day she sent me a message, she's like, thank you. She's like, I just realized I spent over 2 hours on my feet. I made my husband lunch. I did laundry. I have never spent, she's like, it's been years since I have spent that much time doing things that normal people do. Plus making lunch for her husband. What a loving thing, because I know that he is an absolute saint and waits on her hand and foot.
Mm.
And it's messages like that from my clients that, if I'm having a low day, I kind of pull those messages back out, and just, I know that I need to keep going because I am making a difference.
Yeah.
For me, it's not necessarily about working with the women that want, I want the 6-pack abs and I want the this. Yeah, you know what? That's great.
Right.
But that's not necessarily, I'm just trying to get everybody through every day,
Mhm.
day-to-day life, things like making lunch for your loved one.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, and this is why you do what you do. So, and I love that you go back through some of these messages, uh, so that you realize that you are making a difference, and that helps you get through a rough day, right? I love that. Yeah. Um, let's see. Can you share any experiences, Beth, where, well, and actually you just did, but where, or any other experiences where feedback or support from your virtual community or your walking group was pivotal to your success?
Um, just every day seeing some of the little wins, just to share another client experience. I had signed on one client, and she said to me, you know what, one of my coworkers, she's like, she's only in her 20s, and I know you only typically work with older women. She's like, but I really think that she could use your help. I'm like, sure, you know what, I'll talk to her. And all I knew was that she had PCOS. Now, there are 4 different types of PCOS, and if you're not familiar with what that is, it's polycystic ovary syndrome. And most people only equate PCOS with the type, and I won't go into all of the technical terms, the type that causes you to gain weight. And you gain weight in a little bit of an odd way. It it it's it's hard to explain, but like I can like look at a group of women and say, okay, that woman has, this type of PCOS. Um, but in walked a very frail woman who, by stature and the way that she was walking in, you would have thought that she was in her 90s.
Mm.
Young mom, newly married, barely had the energy to get in my door. And, we got talking, and I realized that she had one of the other types of PCOS. She had sensitivities to animal proteins and had been trying a vegan diet, but had been doing it with all processed foods.
Mm.
And while I am not a dietitian, I have a lot of plans that are written by a dietitian. And I said, you know what? I said, here is this 30-day vegan plan, or plant-based plan. Why don't you give this a try? And we talked about some workout things, and within 3 weeks, like, she like came in for her next appointment, and like in walks this vibrant 20-year-old woman,
Wow.
who is glowing, and her hair is done and her makeup's done, and she's like this person that I would have expected to walk in my door. And she's like, you know what? She's like, you're right. She's like, I was basically just living on processed plant-based foods, and all of that garbage was just making me sick.
Mm.
And again, it's just these little things like that
Mm.
it's mind blowing, and you're like, oh my gosh, I did that. you
Absolutely.
know
And
um
I would beg to differ. That's not a little win. That's a huge win. It is amazing to change someone's life that much. And I am aware of what PCOS is. One of my daughters suffers from PCOS, and she is actually taking it upon herself to study it. She has hired a naturopathic doctor, and she's working with them to do the right things. And she's totally tries not to do the processed food. I don't know if she's listening today, but Emily, if you're here, then she would love to. She's a great advocate of PCOS. So, but that's an amazing story. Amazing. Yeah. So Beth, so I see that you've engaged with the media. And you've been featured in several prominent media outlets. That's so cool. How the heck did these opportunities come about for you?
So during the pandemic, because I was not really comfortable on video, I actually sought out a video mentorship. And it was video and media. And it was through that opportunity that they connected us with one very influential person who sends a lot of, he'll do an interview with you and then they send it out. But in addition to that, they just walked through how to get other media appearances. And you know what? The big thing is ask.
Okay.
So many media outlets are just looking for positive things, happy news, stories of interest. And, one of the big things that they taught us was creating this one sheet. And if you create a one sheet and you send it out, it looks pretty impressive. It makes you look very professional. And there's a lot of resources out there for, creating a one sheet. In fact, I think Canva even has a template. But the big start local.
Yeah.
Start local. I also use a lot of press releases. So anytime anything like interesting or mildly interesting happens, I'll send out a press release.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that will warrant a call back from somebody at the media outlet that'll say, hey, we got your press release. We'd love to do a story on you. So, don't be afraid to just ask the question.
Right.
In our market, in the Syracuse market, we have an amazing show called Bridge Street. They're always looking for people to be on it. And it's a super easy one. You just call you call the station up and say, I have an idea for, Bridge Street, and they'll have you email your idea. And
yeah, I love Bridge Street. They always have a lot of fun guests on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. And I didn't even really think about press releases. Press releases seems like I don't know, an older form of connecting with the media, but honestly, there's probably different. I mean, a press release now is probably you can just email that to, or you can just use your one sheet.
Yeah. So a lot of times press releases you can just submit on a website.
Okay. All right. Very cool.
There's a little bit of a format. But recently I received a grant to expand my breast cancer recovery program, and I did a press release. So those are the types of things as whenever these opportunities happen, you just have to jump on them.
Yeah.
It can be something as we're expanding, and your expansion might just be that you added another person or you added a new program. Sometimes it'll get picked up, but sometimes it won't. But my grandfather was always like telling us, you have to toot your own horn because nobody else will.
That's right.
And that kind of always sticks in the back of my mind. So.
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't ask, you won't know. And what's the worst thing that somebody could say, right? It's no. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly.
So I have one of the listeners today asking, have you ever used Haro, help a reporter out?
You know what? I have heard of it. Now that you've said that, and I think that might have even been one of the tips in that mentorship that I did. But I have not ever actually used it, and I probably should be. So thank you.
Yeah. And I'm making, I have my paper and pen, and I hope all you ladies do here today because these are some great tips. And so ladies, Beth just gave us some tips on how to get noticed and featured on media. So I hope you took note of that. And actually, I will post these tips at the end in the comments. So this is awesome, Beth. Thank you. So Beth, so how has being featured in the media and these publications impacted your business and your personal brand? Has it helped you spread awareness?
So in some ways, it kind of helps getting out of your head with the imposter syndrome. So from your own mindset, it helps because it's like, oh, you look at this, I'm a big deal, right? That's what you kind of want to tell
You
yourself.
are.
The other thing is it really lends credibility. When you can go to somebody's website and you see like, featured on, but the other thing is anytime that I do like a press release or an appearance or anything like that, I always get at least one client, which is great. So from that standpoint, that investment of time, and energy, always pays off. And plus sometimes it's just kind of fun. You go out and you're seeing people that you've known for a long time. They're like, I never knew all of that about you.
Right, exactly.
Because I'm pretty low key about, what I do and that kind of thing. And, we don't really seem to be in a circle where people are like, oh, what do you do for a living?
Yeah.
And even if I told them, they probably wouldn't really understand it. So, I think it's definitely worth it. You sometimes do have, when you send out a press release, you'll like get the advertising salesperson calling you up, wanting you to run an ad as well.
Right.
Which every so often you need to run a paid ad because they just like running your press release better if you're spending some kind of money with them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and sometimes that's just the investment that we make in business, right? I mean, sometimes you have to spend a little money, like you said.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, Beth, so for those women wanting to start an online program or community, what are some actionable steps that they can take to begin? I know that you already mentioned having a plan. So, and that's one of my big things too is, and I've done some Facebook lives, some series here. And that's the one thing that we've hit on every time is you need to start with a business plan, even if it's as simple as sketching something out on a napkin, right? But what are some other steps that these women can take to begin?
Be as authentic as possible, because I know one of the things that I found when I started taking this media class is I am, and I've toned it down for today, I am a huge goofball.
You don't need to tone it down, don't worry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I am a huge goofball, but in my video, I was coming across as kind of really stiff and, inauthentic and that sort of thing. And I was looking every place but in the camera. So even right now, I like have to remember, look at the camera, not Jody over here. And, those are just the little things that are going to, basically don't try to be, don't try to be somebody that you're not. You don't have to be totally serious when you're dealing even with serious subjects.
Yeah.
So excuse me, that's like one of the huge things for me. And I still have to work on it. Sometimes I'll get on a Facebook Live in my Facebook group and I'm like, oh, and it's like, I should be cracking jokes. The other thing is, time blocking. Time blocking has been a huge one for me. And, consistency also. If you're going to go live every week in your group at 11 o'clock on Friday or whatever that is, try to keep that so that people know what to expect.
Yeah.
And choose something that you're really, really passionate about. Sometimes I think people choose a subject area because they think it's, it's the hot topic of, of the year or whatever. Right. And they think that they're going to, make money at it just because they've chosen it.
Right.
Choose something that you're passionate about. Let me tell you, if your passion is there, your passion's going to come through. And if you're always doing the right things and being passionate about it, let me just get a sip of my water here before I finish my point.
Yes.
The revenue and the revenue will come.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I always, whenever I'm asked, whenever anybody asks me for tips, my final tip is always drink water. So,
yeah.
But that's the thing. And the other thing that I recommend is if you're starting an online community or an online anything, don't just automatically like think that all of your friends and family need to be part of it.
Right.
Sometimes it's actually better not to have your friends and family part of it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you might actually be more comfortable that way
Yeah,
if they're
absolutely.
not part of it.
I agree with that. I do agree. Yep. Yeah. Amazing. All right. Let's see here. So Beth, as far as managing your own wellness routine, because I mean that's a tough one for me. How do you manage your own wellness routine alongside the demands of running your wellness studio and your coaching program and all that?
Sure. Um, Again, it goes back to time blocking. I really make sure that my time is blocked out well, that I honor my time. I also listen a lot to my body. So, I right now, because I am a solopreneur, I am teaching on Mondays and Wednesdays, 3 classes a day, plus one on Saturday.
Mm,
That actually is a lot of movement for a 55-year-old woman. Um, so, I listen to my body. If there is a day that like my balance is off or like my knees are aching, something like that, a lot of what I do anyway is I talk about options. I don't like to call them modifications because sometimes that does a weird thing to our head.
yeah.
So I talk about options. And so I might grab a chair and I'm like, okay, guys, so I'm going to show the chair options today for doing this, for doing the routine that we're going to do, where the seat of the chair becomes your floor, so that you're not up and down and that sort of thing. Or I just listen to my body, and I try to make sure that I eat right 80% of the time, and I rest.
Mm,
Making
so
sure that adequate sleep is a huge thing.
yes.
Um, and then my other thing is just making sure that I'm drinking my water.
Mhm. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, we're all looking for that magic bullet and that magic pull, that magic pill, that magic potion. It's right here.
Yeah.
It's water.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And what we do daily as well. And I did want to mention about the rest. I want to say thank you for coming on the live today because it's a Friday, and you mentioned to me that you gift yourself Fridays off. So that's really important too. So even if we can, as entrepreneurs, we can say, okay, I'm only going to work, half of a day on Friday. I'll get my work done in the morning, and take the rest of the day for your mental health or whatever. Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's part of the boundaries.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Being
Yeah.
able to say no, or yeah. For sure. All right. So as far as your future outlook goes, what's next for you and the wellness studio?
So I am part of that, protecting my personal energies and my time. Is I'm really focusing more on expanding my group experiences.
Mm,
So at one point I was focusing more on that one-on-one time, but we only have so much time, right?
yes.
The other thing that I'm finding is more and more women are looking for community again. So this was definitely true, pre 2020. Um, they're really looking for that sense of community and camaraderie. So I'm definitely focused right now on expanding my group experiences, more group class options,
Great.
um, shifting some of my healthy, I'll call them my healthy or healthier one-on-one people into just group. So that then that frees my time to work with the people that need me most one-on-one. So the
Mm,
people that are just coming out of cancer treatment or are currently in cancer treatment.
mm,
Um, so,
mhm.
and then really expanding my breast cancer recovery program so that it can be accessible online as well. So it doesn't have to just be women close to me. Or,
Yes.
I have a new client right now who she's still having some energy issues after finishing up treatment. And she is traveling, 20 minutes to come see me. And
Mhm.
sometimes she just doesn't have that energy. So if I can, direct her to an online, okay, here's what we were going to do today,
Yeah.
and here's online, so you don't have to travel,
Right.
um, that sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it. And sometimes when it's tough with the I'm not going to say tough, but with the one-on-one coaching versus the group coaching. When you have that group coaching, you have that community, and these women that are in that group coaching can then collaborate and help one another, right?
Sure,
So,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, keep each
yeah,
other accountable.
absolutely, yeah.
Mhm.
So we've heard that you're launching a new series in your studio called Soul Strength Offbeat, and that's starting in September. And you actually launched a free sneak peek in your studio last Saturday, I think
Mhm.
August 26th.
Yes.
Can you
Mhm.
tell us about a bit about what inspired this and what participants can expect?
Sure. So my group format is it's called the Soul Formats. It is a just a different a collection of weighted and body weight movements. It's a little bit of a mix of Pilates and yoga and some dance and all of these things. Um, we have the freedom to do a lot of different things with it. Typically, it is choreographed. With offbeat, it is not choreographed, but everything is timed, which allows you to be able to actually lift a little bit heavier. And what I was finding is that some of my class participants have been with me for a really long time. And I keep my regular group classes low to no impact, um, beginner to moderate. But I wanted to have something that was kind of intermediate to advanced with heavier lifting.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what that is. It's going to be a 6-week segment. There will be an option to kind of add on a nutrition and accountability component as well. And I had 2 test classes. I know that they were during summer. So actually, anybody else that is interested will be welcome to come and try out the very first class in September. And then they can make a decision then if they want to commit to the full 6 weeks after that. So.
Great. That sounds like so much fun. Yeah. So before our parting thoughts here, Beth, I just wanted to encourage everyone that's watching to please go check out Beth's Facebook. She has a website, and at the end here, Beth has a special surprise for all of us, and she's going to, let us know what that is, and we'll also put that in the comments at the end. And I'll also put a link to Beth's Facebook and her website at the end as well. But so, Beth, for women just starting out, whether it's in wellness, or any other industry, what is one final piece of advice you'd give them? And I mean, yes, water, right?
You know, don't do it on your own.
Yeah.
Seriously, find a group of women online. Find a group of women in your community. Find someone that you trust who is in business, even if they're not in the same business as you. Um, don't try to do it on your own. Being an entrepreneur can be a little bit lonely.
Yes.
And I always say train your weaknesses. So, if you're strong in one area, but you are not really comfortable in another, train that weakness, learn what that is. You know, we often hear hire our weaknesses, but when you're starting a business, you might be on a limited budget, and hiring that weakness might not be the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But just don't do it on your own.
Right.
And don't be afraid of tech, and drink your water.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Well, that's awesome, Beth. Thank you so much for being here. And did you want to go ahead and share your special surprise, your treat?
Sure. And I wanted to mention 2 other things before I jump in, if I may.
Great.
Something else that I am offering this fall will be Better Balance with Beth. It is designed primarily for older women, but really anybody is more than welcome if you're feeling that your balance is a little bit off. It's something that I want to do before we hit the winter months. Um, and I am also recently part of the Healthy Alliances Network, which is a network of health and wellness providers who serve underprivileged um, populations. And that's just a great resource. I've just recently launched with them, so I'm really looking forward to that partnership as well. So the last thing that I have is sometimes I just get these crazy ideas in my head. And one of my most successful programs that I've ever run has been Hormone Harmony. And I actually let my test group name it, which was kind of fun and cool. It's a 21-day program that you do have a set meal plan. But once you're done with that set meal plan, then we kind of talk about, real life balance. But the meal plan is super, super delicious. In fact, there's a lot of recipes in there that become family favorites. It has access to my live classes in person and online. So you can, do it wherever it's convenient. I have somebody that joins classes who literally like walks here if she comes in person, but otherwise she's on Zoom. And then I also have an online workout library. It is all me. It's not like, it's not like something that's pre-programmed. It's all me, all my original work. So it's got that. It's based on my 4M method, which is meals, movement, mindset. And the fourth M is the magic, because when those all things come together, it really creates a nice balance.
I love that.
But I am opening up six spots for free. I've never given this away free before. It has always been priced anywhere from $97 to $297. So there is an application process. It's not really based on, financial need. Through the app, I'm just going to read through all of the applications, see who has the drive. The only stipulation is that you have to be willing to let me share, your progress.
Yeah.
But free. We start September 11th. Applications close on Monday. Although I might bump that to Tuesday, and then we'll be announcing the winners of the 6 spots on Wednesday.
Amazing. So that's the Hormone Harmony.
Hormone Harmony, 21 days. It's just an amazing program. The results that people have gotten when they've gone through it, it's just been like, I'm always like, again, I'm like, I did that. It's just a really cool program. And I love it. And I know that when women go through it, they really learn a lot about themselves, a lot about how to control their hormones naturally, and lose a little weight and a few inches in the process too.
Absolutely, which is a great bonus. Yeah, absolutely. Well, that sounds amazing, Beth. And I just want to thank you again so much for being here and sharing your story. It's very inspiring. And I know all the ladies here, I'm sure you had an amazing time today, and hopefully you took your notes. And Beth, it was great to have you. Hopefully we can have you on someday again in the future.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Jody.
All right, Beth. All right. Take care. Have a wonderful weekend and happy Labor Day.
Okay, great. Thanks.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, you guys, there you have it. That was an amazing interview. I know that I learned a lot, and I hope you're going to take advantage of Beth's offer for the 21-day program for her Hormone Harmony. And we're going to put the link in the comments afterwards. And there you have it. So we have some really exciting things coming up here in the community. I have a 5-day challenge that I'm working on behind the scenes. That's going to be coming up sometime in September. It's to help you build your business or ramp up your business. And there will be some announcements through there. I also have some more Q&As scheduled throughout the month of September and actually in October. So those are going to be super fun and exciting. And there you have it. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful Labor Day, and happy September to you all. Go and enjoy your pumpkin spice coffees. All right. And thank you so much for watching again. All right, guys. All right. Thank you. Bye.